Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? CoinOpTV subscribers, Robert Welkner here with another CoinOpTV live and interactive on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoinOpTV. Today we're going to be talking about a brand new game from Square Enix called World of Final Fantasy. I've got the trailer here, and I want to show you some gameplay, some trailers, some stuff like that. But we're going to do sort of a special thing. We got special guest co-host, one of my contributors, writers. He also produces video content for CoinOpTV. His name is...
Hey, how you doing today, Rob? Glad to be here.
Say podcaster as well. Is that another thing under your...
Absolutely, man. I love it, man. It's so great to be able to interact with people and be able to get my voice out there. It's also nice to feel like my voice matters, and I think it does. So
strong voice, and we got some people in chat here: Jesse, Chloe, Mason, Sync HD, and Tom, and Leon, and a few others. I don't know if you guys are Final Fantasy people, but we're going to be talking about World of Final Fantasy today. Let me read off the little synopsis, and then we'll get into some of Brian's thoughts and his take on the game here. So here's a look at the trailer. World of Final Fantasy combines classic RPG gameplay mechanics with a fresh and imaginative toy-like visuals. As a brand new title in the Final Fantasy franchise, this game can be enjoyed by both fans and newcomers to the series. So we'll find out from Brian if that's true or not. Players will lead a pair of twins through varied Final Fantasy worlds and encounter the adorably familiar monsters therein. Capture and raise such familiar beasts as, I don't know if I can pronounce these right, cactuar, tonberry, behemoth, to discover alternate forms and learn new abilities. Maybe I should have Brian help me out with some of the pronunciations there. So cool. So if you guys are watching in the live stream, do not spam, do not troll. If you have questions, concerns, let us know. If you're watching this on the archive, we'll check the comments as well after the fact. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm loving the game. I'm actually, it's funny that they mentioned this whole like newcomers as well as people who love the universe itself, because if there was one thing I could say, that is exactly what Square Enix did here. They took, because think about it, like the entire Final Fantasy is super long, and no one's going to go back and play every single game because they all take 60 to 80 hours. So a completely new generation of people have missed out on all these games, and it's very intimidating. In World of Final Fantasy, they have definitely lowered the barrier to entry for this. The mechanics are not overly difficult. That does not mean they're not deep. It just means that it sort of has a Pokemon-esque features to it, where you go out and you find the different monsters that are in the World of Final Fantasy. So there's cactuars, those are little green dudes that stand like this, and mandragoras, and a whole bunch of all the other Moogles and chocobos, and these are all things you can capture. And then how it works is, in a battle, is you stack them. So if you are the large form, because as the characters, you can be either large form, or they call giants, or Lillican form, which are medium-sized creatures, and then you stack them. So if you have a large creature, you put your character on top of them, and then you put the little tiny Moogle on top of you, and then you fight as a group. They've really made it where it's definitely has a more Pokemon-esque feeling, but at the same time, it gets deep into, there's a lot of like different skills that you can get. And a lot of, they call them mirage boards, but ways to get more skills. So by getting experience.
All right. We're actually showing some gameplay here that you helped captured on
Absolutely.
The PlayStation 4, I believe. I forgot to mention this is a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation Vita, released this week, October 25th, 2016. So we're looking at some gameplay here. So let's jump into the gameplay. I don't know you're on a little delay, or I don't know if you could see this, but what's the world? You were sort of in this looked like a demon hell world or something like this. Was this turn-based, or how's kind of the gameplay sort of working?
Sure. So in this gameplay, I am in kind of a volcano area. It's a JRPG typical trope is that you'll end up going to the fire world, the wind place, the earth one, and the water one. So I happen to be in the fire one in this particular case, and we're trying to get the key of embers. And so at the end, I end up fighting what they call the king bomb. It's a bomb is a it's a typical Final Fantasy monster that you'll see in every single game. And so the king bomb is just a boss battle. And in the boss battle, I go ahead and so I try to do a couple of different things. I try to do a couple of different skills, and then I did a champion summons. So I did a couple of those. Champion summons are you go and find, as you meet the different characters. So you'll meet the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1. You'll meet Cloud from Final Fantasy 7. You'll meet, I think I did Tifa in this particular video. She's also from Final Fantasy 7. And then once you get their medals, you can use them as summonses. So in a regular Final Fantasy, you'll usually summon a giant creature. Well, the creatures are already standing next to you, and they're already fighting with you. So this, instead, you call upon all the characters that you've been in the different Final Fantasies throughout the entire series. So, it's fun because you get to meet all these people and then watch them interact, which is, that's one thing I will say about the game, is that it's a very good sense of humor. It's self-deprecating to Final Fantasy itself, as well as some things that are, in pop culture today. I'm not going to say they go as far as to use the term "in fleek," but there are a few other pop culture references in the game.
By using some slang, Matt and I do a show about Skylanders every week, and he won't say the word selfie because he's anti-selfie. So I'm glad to see you're embracing, Chat here, Mason says Brian is way further than me. How many hours have you played so far?
I'm about 37 hours in. I have finished the I've gotten past the main. I want to call it the main storyline, but like really when the game turns on its head, I've gotten past that. So there's a major twist in the game past that point.
I want to give any major twist spoilers.
Most Final Fantasy games have a twist in them, so don't worry about it. But there's so much in there. I mean, like you'll see people, you'll see like the Shinra Corporation is involved. They're from Final Fantasy 7. There's just so many different pieces. Like Balam Garden is there. It's amazing how they integrated so many different pieces to the to different games that you'll remember, and they just throw them in little bits at a time. It really is quite amazing what they've done with the game.
Now, Toby in chat asked, he said, hey, what is this game? Is it like Pokemon or something like that? Is this, if you're a Pokemon player or fan, is World of Final Fantasy a good crossover game for you?
Okay, so it would be like if you were a big Pokemon fan and you wanted to find out what Final Fantasy was like. This would be an excellent step for you. But otherwise, I hate to call it a Pokemon game because I feel like Pokemon games are very specific in how you go about collecting, and it's not exactly the same, but it's very, very close. So there are a lot of Pokemon-esque elements in it that would appeal to a general Pokemon gamer.
All right. Let's jump back into some review elements. So we're showing some gameplay and some graphics. Real cartoony this time around. Is World of Final Fantasy, is it sort of faithful to the Final Fantasy brand, the franchise?
So it's funny because they've really gone in this chibi character anime style that I don't think would appeal to every Final Fantasy gamer, but there is something about it that helps evoke a childlike quality, and I think that the writing and the music sort of play into that. So they integrate it well. It's just the childish art style could turn you off. It is not a child's game, but they definitely wanted to make it appeal to new gamers again to lower that barrier to entry. All
right. Let me ask you another question. What is the mix of the balance of like RPG and dialogue and fighting and exploring? How would you kind of give a little bit of an overview look at that? Hang on, can you guys still hear me?
Can you hear me now? Oh, all right. I'm back. I don't know what happened, but all right, let's go on. At the bottom of the screen, it starts off and it has like some of your skills. I actually turned it off to what they call the classic mode, and it looks like Final Fantasy 1, where it just says, action, like, so it's like basically attack, your abilities, the other, and like everything down to escape. Like, it's just lists the commands that you would normally have. So yeah, I mean, it is an old school turn-based RPG. You literally, if you're in the middle of a battle and it's your turn, you can put the controller down and walk away and come back whenever you need to. So in that regard, it definitely would appeal to an old school JRPG player. But on the other hand, they make it like they have a fast forward button so that you can move through the turns faster. I don't really feel like they've gone heavy on the grinding. There's not a lot of collecting, which is a trope for Japanese RPGs to begin with. They don't have a lot of collecting. They don't have a lot of mini quests. There are some mini quests, but they don't have a ton of them. So they did a very good job of kind of picking and choosing the pieces of a Japanese role-playing game in order to satisfy both the old school gamer as well as newcomers to the series.
All right, let's see. What are some of the highlights of the game for you?
Okay. So some of the highlights is a lot of the inside jokes. So characters that, that are from other games, and they'll meet up with other characters, and then they're just like, just the dialogue between them, and then they'll throw in little bits like just like Hyperion. If you don't know who that is, it's in the form of a little black chocobo in the game. So there's all these little bits and pieces as you go through that if you are an old school Final Fantasy player, they're all going to be like, oh my gosh, what? I don't know. They included that. That's amazing. So there's that, as well as to me, I love how it feels like that old school Japanese role-playing game. I love Final Fantasy 1. It's still one of my top favorite of the series, and I just love that turn-based style where I have all the opportunity in the world to think about what I want to do, and then execute it. So there's a lot of thinking in advance. It really is what I love about the game the most. It just feels so wonderfully old school. And then of course to have this amazing cast of characters from all the games, it really is tremendous for me.
All right, we got Richachu Gaming in chat says, just picked up the game today. Glad to see the turn-based gameplay is in there. We're talking about some of the highs. Are there any lows, any disappointments, any failures, any things you want to change?
Okay, so and I don't know if this is necessarily it's a low for me. But it's something that happens in a lot of Japanese role-playing games especially when you're collecting a lot of characters, like a lot of these monsters, is at the end, I'm just kind of like, I'm throwing the Imprism out, I'm collecting them, but they don't make it into my rotation of monsters because they're at level 1 and my monsters are at level 55. So there's no, so I get I got a cool new character, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, except I can't use that guy for like the next 3 hours, and I would just have to hold him in the back and bring him along, and I can't really use them, and so it kind of, you get bummed out because you're like, oh, I got these cool things and I can't use them. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem with the game, but it's more of a problem with Japanese role-playing games in general that have these sort of collections. Also, I've collected every champion medal that I can at this point. So every character. So, I have Tifa, Cloud, Sephiroth, the Warrior of Light, Selkie. I have all these characters, and they don't really do a whole lot different. So, Lightning does an attack, and then she boosts my attack, and then Cloud does the attack, and he boosts agility or something, and that's all the difference that they do. It's not like they don't do, it's more like you're doing it to get one big attack as well as just watch them do something cool. And I don't have any problem with watching something do something cool, except I just kind of wish they would do other things. Like Snow actually does a ice attack, and you're like, okay, that's cool, and no one else does anything else.
All right, thanks for pointing that out. We got time for 2 more quick questions here. I'll answer one of them. Teo in chat asked if it was out for the Wii. It's not out for the Wii. It's actually on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. And Brian, here's a... Oh, yes.
I just want to interrupt. They do have cross-save. So if you own the game, you can upload it on your PS4 and play it on your Vita.
So yeah, we're at least staying on the Sony there. So no Nintendo or Xbox. And then Mythical Snake in chat says, interesting game, and says, is this canon, by the way? So how does...
Yeah, I don't believe it's canon. It's more like if all the characters kind of got sucked into a side dimension. So, for instance, they even kind of break the fourth wall a little bit. This isn't really a spoiler because there's a store in every game. But, if people who are familiar from the Final Fantasy 13 series, Chocobocolina is back, and she's selling you things. You meet her in the first 10 minutes of the game. And she'll even mention that, she came across from a different dimension, while she was traveling between dimensions. And you're like, okay, I kind of understand. Like, so they lay the groundwork that it's not exactly, canon per se. It's more like if a what if, like a what if statement if they all happen to live in this different universe.
All right, cool. Thanks for explaining that to some of our live viewers. Again, if you guys have questions and concerns and you're watching this on the archive, let us know in the comments, and then me or Brian will jump in and try and answer them for you. So Brian's actually working on the full written review that'll go up on the website. And of course, if you want to, somebody asked if you had your own YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Sure. If people want to listen to my podcast, it's called Starting Point. You can find it at shoutengine.com/starting point. Or you can find us on Twitter at @starting point. That's all one word.
Thanks, Brian, for jumping in. Thanks for all you guys and girls watching the live stream. We'll be back again tomorrow doing some more live stream. We got a lot of stuff happening this week. Skylanders Academy, the cartoon, is launching this week on Netflix, so we're going to be doing some recaps of that and a lot of video games coming out for the rest of the couple of months here. So thanks a bunch for all you guys and girls watching for CoinOpTV. We'll see you next time.